The Indian New Wave, that originated primarily in Hindi cinema, spread its wings far and wide through the depth of the country. It was no wonder, hence, that it will affect Marathi cinema, its closest neighbor. Marathi cinema had been a pioneer in the history of Indian cinema from the days of Dadasaheb Phalke and on to V. Shantaram and others. Yet, after independence, there was a certain lack of focus in bringing out the contemporary realities on screen. Satyadev Dubey's 1971 exploration, Shantata Chalu Aahe, based on Vijay Tendulkar's notable and oft-performed play with the same name, can be termed as Marathi cinema's first pioneering attempt to participate in the Indian New Wave. The film treads the Tendulkar's play closely and employs a play within film approach almost like a self-reflexive ploy. Embedded narrative has always been an effective literary device, the biggest example being William Shakespeare's Hamlet. In a film, it may ought to be a little claustrophobic. Thanks to Dubey's mastery as a filmmaker and Govind Nihalani's deft cinematography, the meta-play approach didn't seem to be boring in the film. Though confined mostly within a single set, the film overcomes the boundaries by repetitively changing the camera angles, both on a horizontal plane as well as a vertical one, and by progressively waning the available light as the day sets and the drama heightens. The edit scheme cuts the scene at times hurriedly with significant close-ups and change of points of view, all cinematic techniques with the chamber drama borrowed from theatre. The film, like the original, is divided into three parts or acts, each with progressively more dark and tense dramatic effects. A mock trial forms the inner framed play. The entire casting of the inner play is decided in the absence of one Miss Benare, who is set to play the role of the accused. Miss Benare is a young and lively schoolteacher, and during the first part comes across as one who loves to make harmless fun of others. She agrees to play the mock role without anticipating how the mock turns soon into a real trial of her character and her secret romantic adventures. Soon, what started off as an innocent joke spins off to a more trial of a socially despicable culprit. Through this mortification of the fallen individual, the deep-rooted social prejudices inherent in the so-called intellectual liberals is exposed. Mr. Kashikar, one of the characters, enacting as the judge, at one time declares that child marriage needs to be brought back and girls must be married off before puberty in order to save the society from such digressions. His wife, Mrs. Kashikar, goes further and admonishes Miss Benare for having too much sexual freedom, quote unquote, in the name of liberty. Sukatme, the stewardess of all, raises the question of motherhood in the beginning of the fake trial and accuses Miss Benare for infanticide. It is he only, in the end, who performs a volte-face and provokes Miss Benare to terminate the unborn child out of wedlock. It is this hypocrisy of all of them, and most significantly of Sukatme, that chills us. In playing the role of both the prosecution lawyer and the defendant one, even if in the mock trial he holds all the cards in the play. Who is Sukatme then? He is the playwright of the inner framed play. He knows all, he is the public, the society at large waiting to tear apart the progressive woman trying to live a life of her own in a regressively dominant patriarchal system. From the later part of the second act, the imaginary mingles with the fake real of the inner play as Sukatme urges the witnesses to conjure up stories to take the trial further. This blurs the margins of real within the play and illusion outside of it, resulting in an allegorical muddled dream. The witnesses soon start to implicate Miss Benare with charges she may not be guilty of. Their inner dissatisfactions and frustrations, their inability to handle Miss Benare's free will and candid amicability exposes them more than her. By letting both the main partners scot-free in the fake trial, the patriarchal bias of our justice system, even in a fake trial, is unmasked. The film, though dolled up heavily like a chamber drama, has its cinematic qualities through the technical cinematographic as well as editing patterns. Miss Benare is progressively shown, for instance, sitting within a witness box and framed through a grilled window, a frame within a frame, to portray her entrapment. The spaces around her keep on getting crunched and squeezed till she no longer remains in the real but embarks on a soliloquy reminiscing Nora's outburst in Henry Gibson's A Doll's House. She makes the ultimate assertion of her independence by walking out on her husband and her children. It is only by removing the physical ties, the mental ones with one's own self, can be sought. Will Miss Benare, like Nora, continue to be an individualistic woman? Or as the fake trial shows, she must repeatedly court different men to marry her and accept her illegitimate child. In an asphyxiating patriarchal society, she probably will have to continue paying a price for dreaming an autonomous existence.